time and place, we really wanted to think about, there's so much going on in the world today. We wanted to just focus on the work. When we're in the studio making work, a lot of times the outside informs what we're experiencing on the inside. To see Bushwick transform from what it was from when we were kids to now what it is amazing, right? The innovation, the culture, the art has really exploded. And I think there's a few reasons why, but I think one of the reasons is because artists have been really welcomed in Bushwick to have studio spaces and to make art here. And so what I love about this project is I'm working in conjunction with the owners who are clearly dedicated to creating more spaces for artists and creatives. And I always want to make sure I partner with like-minded individuals. So of course, when they brought me on, I thought it was a great fit. And, bringing more art and activating, a level of art that's really curated is something we're all committed to for this project.
What got you into art?
My brother was a hip hop kid. He was a DJ, he was a b-boy, and his friends used to do backspins outside on the cardboard in front of our house, and they would take tags on the cardboard. That was my first introduction to hip hop culture. And since then, I've just been kind of fascinated by this subculture that was built by inner city kids in New York. Women in hip hop, a lot of times we're left out of the conversation. So I think it's really important to interject and to have something to say. And so by creating women curated and women supported and women run shows, that was a way for us to kind of have more of a voice, more of a conversation, and to include ourselves in the culture.
Alice was the very first painting I ever purchased. Almost all the art that I purchase and collect is from young up-and-coming artists.
Okay.
Whose work I just personally love. It's not something that I'm doing for financial gain. Though the funny thing is that more often than not, my best dollar-for-dollar investments, better than real estate, have been canvases from young artists that eventually appreciate and value because they're fantastic. I got into the mural art world because I'd spend hours driving around generally sort of industrial, challenged neighborhoods. And I started noticing all of this color and vibrancy and energy that popped up on walls around corners that you'd never expect. I was in these neighborhoods because I was looking for industrial properties, places where artists and other creative folks could have a good place to work. So my goal has been as you said, to foster art and artists in creative neighborhoods and give them a clean, safe, sanitary place to work and to bring their creative energies to New York City, which to me has always been the lifeblood of New York.
Being the first woman to break those barriers, yes, I came up with a dozen guys and such, half a dozen which are still around and are successful artists like myself. But I was the first woman to break those barriers, absolutely. So historically, for over 40 years, I think that, venues like this that exhibit art and publications that support us and, foster our community and a networking that is unparalleled. The nightclubs, it's like the coffee shops in old Paris over a century ago. All the thinkers who get together, and we've got musicians and fashion designers and photographers and graffiti writers and actors and filmmakers, everyone meshed together, and that's the kind of network that we need, and New York had it in abundance in the 80s, and when I came up, and it was just teeming with energy, and we need that more.
by no means me, it's we, right? It's a large team that has made this happen. And so I'm very grateful for that. I think one of the most important things in New York that most artists lack is space. And so having people that own a building that are supportive of arts and culture is a really, really wonderful thing. And I'm just really honored to be part of that. And so for me, that alone is successful, like just partnering with great people.